credit cards, people have like buy now, pay later schemes, people have borrowed money from their friends. Track down what they are doing. If someone is having a 100K debt, when they are earning 50K, they must somewhere in the past, don't even know what's the point of having a credit card when you can't pay it off by end of the month. Can someone complete this debt without a side hustle? Yes, they can. Of course, anyone can. The point is, should they do it?
Welcome to Certified Overthinkers. Today we are going to discuss about how we can overcome a huge debt. If you have any, you have tuned into the right video. Today I have Vishnu on the other side, and let's get into the discussion. So,
Thank you.
The first question to you, Vishnu, tell me about the methods that we can overcome a debt.
Well, okay, the simplest method is live by your means. So if you're earning something, if you can control the expense in a way that you can limit your spending within what you earn, that is the first step. Of course, this is literally the baby steps. So you need to start limiting your expense. Then you need to start focusing on completing the debt with what you have. Of course, let's say that you're let's think about a scenario, so it will be easy for our audience to understand how they can reduce the debt by comparing with our hypothetical scenario. So maybe you can just come up with something. Do you have something that?
Yeah, I was thinking about I actually heard about this snowball effect method, or I don't know, I've heard about several methods in theories, but I'm not really sure how difficult it is for a person who's like a window shopper, or let's say a heavy buyer of things. I don't know what to say.
I'm a big window shopper.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So I don't know how it's going to affect the mentality. So, for example, if I know how the snowball effect method works in order to attack debt, but my mentality doesn't align with that method, for example. So how much, up to what extent can we rely on these kind of theories on a practical basis?
Okay. People mainly talk about avalanche method or a snowball method. My personal favorite is a snowball method. Since I'm a window shopper, but I don't buy things. I go to malls, I go online, I check everything out, but I just don't buy it. I can control myself. But the main reason why you don't really have to rely on this, probably you can create your own methods. But in short, snowball method is just start paying your small debts, because it's not like people are just going to have one debt. It's not like just, hey, I have this one mortgage or one loan and that's it. No, it's mostly like people have credit cards, people have like buy now, pay later schemes, people have borrowed money from their friends or everything. So start small, just finish off the smallest debt that you can find. That kind of gives you a satisfaction, especially people of our generation or later or younger ones. They like this satisfaction when they complete something, when they achieve something. So the snowball effect kind of gives you this satisfaction immediately. You finish the first small loan at the beginning. Probably it's just like very small, $100, $200.
So what you're trying to say is that when you have small achievements financially,
yes,
it would be like building blocks for something huge, right?
It would encourage you to do more.
Right.
This is like just encouraging the kids. When they do something very small, you keep reinforcing that idea. You reinforce that they are good deeds, so it will get bigger. That's the same logic. We are still kids, especially in finance. So
true.
When you achieve something, even if it's a very small achievement, give yourself a small pat on your back. Move on. Of course, the one thing that people do, the biggest mistake is when they finish off a $200 debt, they'll just go on, treat themselves with like $30 meal or something.
True. That's yeah, I can relate to that.
That just kills the joy of closing your debt. Just they need to think about long term, because there are some people, especially Gen Z. Probably I'm just complaining more about Gen Z. Technically, I'm Gen Z too, but people, they think that they're not gonna live forever, so they just want to like YOLO. You only live once. Yeah, I kind of understand the idea, but that's not how the life would work, because it's most likely that you're gonna end up living until 70.
True.
So think long term.
Yep. And I think I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, I have a feeling that I always wanted to close off the debt that's actually hitting my financial stats a little bit more higher. So for example, if I have credit card loans, I always want to pay it off if I can,
Yep.
because it has more interest rate, right? So as we're speaking about credit cards, cash loans, I want to get into a scenario for the audience,
Okay.
right? So let's say someone has $100,000 debt and earns 50,000 a year, like annual net amount, which means $50,000 the person is going to get in hand. That includes the bonus, that includes all the other hustles, probably. What's the very first step that they should take in order to change the things around?
Track down what they are doing. If someone is having a 100K debt, when they are earning 50K, they must somewhere in the past, like, so, okay, I know it's a hypothetical scenario, but what do you think this 100K debt is comprised of?
So let's say $50,000 is cash loan,
Okay.
which is having about 8%. I would rather say 12%
better.
in interest rate, and another 50K is credit card for 18% interest rate, right?
Yep.
So you have 50K on cash and 50K on this thing with two different set of interest rates. But the person is earning 50K in hand. But now let's talk about the expenses. Let's say let's deduct about $18,000 from 50K per annum for all the expenses, And my question related to this, the second question what I have is, on a 50K salary, it's going to be probably very difficult for the person to hit, $100,000 that, let's say, even for 3-5 years, right? So in order to optimize and focus, is it really possible for the person to complete the loan without a side hustle, without a second job? And how it's going to really affect at the end of the day the person's mentality? Let's talk about the snowball effect. How is it really going to work out in this particular format? What do you think?
So in this particular case, the guy is super messed up. 50K on a credit card. I mean, I don't even know what's the point of having a credit card when you can't pay it off by end of the month.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's deep dive into the scenario. The guy has a debt of 50K in with 12% and a 50K in 18%. There is no snowball or avalanche here because both are equal debts. But the key thing that we need to focus here is on the percentage of interest.
Right.
Because after a year, the 50K is going to eat up almost 9K of just on interest.
Just on interest, right?
Yes. So that's bad. So the goal should be like just finish the credit card as soon as possible, because credit card debts are super bad. That's always bad.
So as it is 50K on cash, 50K on this thing, it's better to target credit card first, because both of them are kind of similar amount. So it's better to target the one that's having higher interest rate. You mean?
Higher interest rate, but of course, since it's a personal loan, that is a minimum payment. So give a minimum payment. I'm sure it's more or less going to be around like $1,200 of minimum payment. So give a minimum payment of $1,200 on the cash loan. The rest, whatever you save, like even if it's like $20 extra that you could save, put it in the credit card. But I just want to follow up on the question on the side hustle.
Yeah.
Can someone, complete this debt without a side hustle? Yes, they can. Of course, anyone can. But the point is, should they do it? No. You have time. You have 24 hours, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work. You have remaining 8 hours. Yeah, keep yourself like 2 or 3 hours, but do something else. You have time, because time is money. Time is currency. And if you're young, just get out. Just get out, do something. Drive Uber. Deliver something, Uber deliveries or something like that, or just take a second job. It could be even a McDonald's job. It doesn't matter what it is.
So you're saying that getting a second job
Yes.
at this kind of scenario is kind of vital, a point where you could take down the loan, right?
Very vital. Imagine this. You said like the guy is earning 50K. Imagine he could just bring in 10K extra with the side hustle.
True.
Just 10K extra. This 10K is just going
Per annum, yeah.
Yeah, per annum, of course. Yeah, sorry. No one is going to earn 10K per month, this debt. But 10K per annum, this guy could just chop off his debt years from, let's say the initial plan is like to pay it off in 4 to 5 years. Now he could easily pay it off in like 3 years,
Yeah.
because it's not just about reducing the debt, but the faster you reduce it, the less interest that you're going to pay. So this money is going to help in a huge way. So the guy has to get in. It doesn't matter what job it is, even if it's super menial, super hard labor, do it.
So the bottom line is
Hmm.
that you suggest whoever is watching this video, including myself, that to identify a certain set of skills that we have, right? And try and go for the side hustle, you mean, right?
Yes.
So let's say I know how to do video editing, for example, right? And probably I could just go ahead and teach someone online and get some bucks on it. So, um, but when you speak in terms of mentality, right?
Hmm.
So you will get tired after 8 hours work, right? So let's say the person is going just for normal office,
Hmm.
back office work. You don't have to, the person is not on a customer service calls or anything like that. But back office work, 8 hours, you're gonna get tired. You still have to cook.
Hmm.
You can't buy stuff from outside, right?
Hmm.
And that's where my next question comes in. Like, what are the kind of like three painful things that the person has to cut off in order to make an aggressive plan to take off the debt? What do you think?
Stop eating out. That's that's the biggest thing.
So the food, you mean?
The food. Stop eating out. It's at least 4 to 5 times cheaper, or even more cheaper when you cook inside, like when you cook yourself food from scratch, than when you eat out. It doesn't matter how cheap the food is outside, whatever the discounts you get, what are the offers or sale that you get in Uber Eats. Cook the food that you're gonna eat. For the people who want to like do a side hustle and have a full-time job, I understand it is hard. It is kind of annoying after some time. You won't get any time for yourself to
Right.
relax or even just scroll through Instagram. Just struggle, because at least now you have a choice of struggling. You're young, you have energy, you have a choice of struggling. If your behavior remains the same with this much debt, it would be very hard or impossible to clear it off when you're old. So struggle now. Maybe cook the food for the entire week, store it in the fridge, do whatever you want. Yeah, you might be just living in. I have this favorite sentence. Just live with rice and beans. These are
Rice
the,
and beans.
yeah, rice and beans, the cheapest food you can find. Rice and beans doesn't literally mean rice and beans, but I have lived. There are plenty of months and more than plenty of yeah, probably even a couple of years that I lived in such a way. It's not always rice and beans. It's the cheapest food that I can cook myself. So it's basically I cut down my expense. At least like yeah, I was just spending 1/3 on my food, what I used to spend, just by changing my diet a little bit. Of course, I'm not asking you to starve yourself,
Yeah.
but eat healthy, cook yourself, but plan it in a way that it's not super expensive.
Yeah, I think most of the time it comes down to the part where the person is not really educated enough
Mm-hmm.
to have a healthy grocery list in his hand, to go outside,
Mm-hmm.
get the proper stuff, and charter out like the whole week's eating plan. So when that thing is not in the
Mm-hmm.
right place, you just go ahead and oh, you know what, I'm just going to order from outside. And that happened to me many times. So that's something which I was kind of dwelling upon, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I think the mentality is one thing,
Mm-hmm.
discipline is yet another thing, right? And and my final question is that from your personal experience, tell me any one milestone that that you kind of achieved, or probably that you're going through right now, right? That you can share it with the audience and see if that's going to be fruitful for others as well, right? So,
Okay, so the recent achievement that I had is like I have like a couple of safety nests.
mhm.
So I don't know, probably in IT field you might have faced some recent layoffs. Even my company had a recent
Right.
layoff, so that kind of scared me. I do have a small nest. My nest eggs are my safety money that I keep aside. I used to have like around 3 to 6 months. Now I just increased it to 6 to 12 months of
Wow.
my expense, just in case. I don't know what's going to happen. If worst case scenario, I'm just ready and prepared. But before focusing on this, it's always finish off your debt, start saving money. That will be your safety nest, because if
So
yeah.
we can. So we shouldn't be saving money, but first we should clear the debt, and then we should save the money. Is that the thing which you're trying to say?
Always. I understand the confusion. People will, while having a debt, people might invest. I
But
understand.
there's no real point in investing
Yes.
without clearing off the debt,
Yes, because
right?
what's the maximum interest that, or the returns that you're going to get, like 12%,
That's
15%?
the max. Yeah.
Yes,
True.
because of course you're not an expert in investing and stuff. You're going to put in some mutual funds or some other index funds, which is going to yield 12%, max 14% in a good year.
Yeah.
But when the interest is eating up like 18% or 12% from your credit card, there is no point in getting 12%
Yeah.
back.
Exactly.
So pay off the debt. The
That's
debt, yes.
kind of that illusion where you easily fall into, you get, oh, you know what, I'm going to get 12% interest, returns,
Yes.
but then 18 plus 12% interest is kind of eating up the whole
Yes.
salary of yours. So yeah, I do.
No, but
I do get
also
the
there
point.
is another point of like saving from the fluctuation. So I understand you might even get like 20%, but this 20% is not guaranteed. Like the returns that you might get,
Right.
the 20% is not guaranteed. What if there is some kind of oil crisis or some kind of financial crisis that could potentially hit in like next year? You wouldn't know. You know what is guaranteed? The interest that you're gonna be charged, that is guaranteed. The 12% interest on your personal loan, 18% interest on your credit
That's
card,
guaranteed.
that is guaranteed. The 20% is not guaranteed. So when 12% and 18% is guaranteed interest, I would rather just pay it off, get the thing away from my head. Then I can focus on this 20% possible return.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vishnu, for
Yeah.
this short but really amazing podcast episode on how to recover the debt that we all might have. So some of the summary points, we will be putting it in the description below. And once again, Vishnu, if you wanted to say something to the audience, this is the time that you could share.
Sure. Okay, so I will just kind of repeat myself. Just live by your means, reduce your expense, focus on where you're spending, cook your own meal, take the public transport. Just try to cut down all the expense, get away from the debt that you have, close the credit cards, loans, then start investing. You don't have to be an expert in investing. Put it in some index funds, mutual funds. There are smart people there who will do it for you. So don't lose your money. Okay, the first goal, never lose the money. The second goal is the first rule is don't lose your money. The second rule is don't forget the first rule. So, but it's not something that I say. The legends already said it. So follow that. Make sure that you don't lose money. Also, don't get into this debt trap. Pay it off. Get the out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vishnu, for the episode. And I just wanted to say, if you have any experience or any thoughts on that, please do share it in the comment section below. If you like this video, do not forget that like button and please subscribe to the channel for more finance episodes. We're going to have serious episodes. Am I right, Vishnu?
Oh, yeah. I love to do more finance
So
episodes.
we will definitely be having it. And stay tuned for the next video. See you. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.